The Navy?
Yeah.
Utah State Marble Champ.
Okay.
USMC.
All right, we're back in session, just for everybody's information.
I did some Army time.
Oh, so he was a crayon eater for a while.
I don't know what that means.
Marine Corps, we say they eat crayons.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm looking at it online.
We say that with love and affection. Is if on the Marines Day, you buy them a box of crayons.
I'm going to have to hear the rest of how that came about. We've just been
Called Mississippi Op Order.
Mississippi Op Order.
All right, we are in session, we are recording. Please introduce yourselves.
Okay. Good morning, Bannock County. My name is Stace Garrett. I'm the District 6 Liaison for the Idaho Department of Juvenile Corrections. Before you is our annual report. This is data that is compiled 99% from Matt Olson here in his county, what they've done over the last year. At any point in time, if you have any questions or concerns, stop me, ask. No big deal. If I can't answer it, hopefully Matt can. And if I don't have the answer, I can circle back with you folks later. We're looking at data from 2019 to 2021. The only data that really isn't from Director Olson here is the first chart. If you go to page 2, which is the Idaho State Police youth arrest. So that's the only thing that we really get our data out of house. So we'll just go through this really quick. So youth arrest for the 2021 year was 523. That's down considerably over 2019. It's up a little bit from 2020. I'm not going to speculate why it's up a little, but I would imagine it was kind of easing of the COVID restrictions for a bit there. The detention admissions have steadily gone down. This year it's 226, which is quite a, from 2019 quite down, and that's across the state. These numbers that we're looking at, these first three on the top are all across the boards. If you look at almost every county in the state, these numbers keep continuing to go down. Youth on probation, 675. That's up from last year, but down still quite a bit from 2019. The charges, the petitions that were filed, we have felony, misdemeanor, and status offenses. 2021 felonies were up to 79. That is a jump over the last 2 years. I'd have no idea why that is. Maybe Director Olson can answer that. Misdemeanors are staying kind of consistent at 441 for 2021, and status offenders are up to 201 over the previous years, which are quite a bit lower. That there reflects just kind of the general move across the state to put kids on diversion, status offender track, and not bring them on formal probation is how I would interpret that. If you go to page 3, this is probation release and intakes. 2021, you had 118 releases and 109 intakes. Diversion releases and intakes, you have 192 releases and 232 intakes. So that kind of correlates with that chart we had on the other page. Probation success rate, so this is when a kid on probation is released from probation, if they were released under successful status or unsuccessful. Successful would be them completing all the terms and conditions of probation that Judge Murray has placed on them. So have they done their community service? If they have restitution, is it paid off? Have they completed all their counseling or whatever, their court-ordered stuff? So 86% in 2021. Bannock County, these are still really high success rates for counties. Bannock County just does a fantastic job with their youth here. I can't, this county is literally looked across all 44 counties, probably the benchmark of juvenile probation in the state. Leaned on heavily for the latest and great treatment modalities and things like that. So when Bannock County does something, everybody else is looking. So hats off to Matt and his crew. Diversion success rates, 78% this year, still very good across the board. If we go to, let's see here, should have brought my glasses, page 4. This is intake, so this is kind of a snapshot what a juvenile looks like in Bannock County last year. This really hasn't changed much since I've been in this position in 5 years, and I don't think it's changed in probably 15 or 20. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. The average youth offender in Bannock County is a 14-year-old white male. Race at point of contact is 65% white, 3% African American, 10% American Indian or Alaskan Native, 16% Hispanic, and 5% unknown. Age is right there, 16. The average is 14.6%, and then spread across the other age groups. Gender at point of intake is 41% female and 59% male. That's pretty typical if you were to look at state data. There's some smaller counties out there that are in District 6 that those are pretty skewed, pretty high towards mostly males. But Bannock County, because it has a bigger population base, kind of reflects the state average on that. Page 5, this is just a one-day snapshot, September 30th. This is what, on that day, what probation looks like in Bannock County. So you have youth on probation, 216, youth on diversion, 223, and then youth in IDJC custody. So those IDJC custody would one of our facilities that I work with. So St. Anthony, Napa, or Lewiston, there's only 9. So Bannock County is a very good steward of making sure that kids that are sent to our custody have exhausted all their resources in the county, because it's best to work with kids in your county and with the community, where their family and community's at. And Bannock County does a good job of making sure that when they send a kid to our custody, they need to be there. And we as a department greatly appreciate that. Next set of numbers down here is hours of community service completed, 4,894. That's a lot, even for a county this size. Looking across, this county runs a fantastic community service program, and they just do great work. So that number's really, really high compared to other counties with similar population base. I need to go back and let you know too. So a lot of these numbers here are based off. It'll be the next chart. I'll go in on that. Paid restitution paid to victims is $16,029. I can't really. Is that a good number? Is that a bad number? I just don't know how much restitution's out there, but at least Bannock County does. They do due diligence to collect restitution for their victims, and they always have a decent number out there. So the percentage. The next chart is recidivism rate. We look at 6, 12, and 24 months. This is from the year kids that were released in 2019. There was a cohort of 163 youth at the 6-month mark. It was 6% recidivism. It jumps to 10% at 12 months and 16% at 24 months. Those are very good numbers. When they average, I think at the state we're at almost 29. So those are really, really impressive numbers for a county with this population. The last number, this is funding sources, and so that first chart, these numbers, where we get the pass-through money from the state into the counties, this is based off your 10 to 17-year-old population in Bannock County. The JCA funds last year were $149,708. Tobacco lottery, that stays. That's where you're off your population base. Now the other money, tobacco, cigarettes, and then lottery are just kind of, I hate to say it, the more people that buy tobacco and stuff in your county, that's kind of fluctuates on that. Same thing with lottery tickets. But under tobacco,
So we need more winners in lottery. Is that what you're telling me?
absolutely. And I'm trying to do my part, but I just keep coming up short, gentlemen.
We already spend $10 million a year in Bannock County on the lottery, so I don't know if we really want any more than that.
Okay. So tobacco and cigarettes is $209,067, and then that's probably one of the biggest I've seen in comparison to JCA and lottery. Usually JCA is the highest funds when I look at the other counties, but lottery is $36,178. State of Idaho, or IDJC, offers, it's called ancillary funding. This is gap funding for kids that are on probation that don't have health insurance that covers mental health or sex offender treatment or substance abuse. The SUDS expenditures, those are monies that are allocated based on the 10 to 17-year-old populations. This county has utilized $103,004 of that. Once again, this county is very good at making sure that money is spent wisely. Also, the CBAS, that stands for the Community-Based Alternative Services. That's where the sex offender treatment or your mental health gap funding comes in place. And they have utilized $70,272 of that money through IDJC. So that's money that Matt and his POs can come to us and say, hey, we've got a need here. We've got a gap in funding. The parents can't do it. They don't have Medicaid, and they come to us for that funding. Last set of numbers here is just the juvenile justice budget percentage from the state. So it keeps going down. I'm sorry, I wish it was going up, but 19 was 15%, 2020 was 13 and 12, and I'll stand for a beating on that chart. So
It's not your fault. There's 105 of them up in Boise whose fault it is, so.
all right, well, thanks. I'll stand for questions, folks. Anybody?
Well, I appreciate all this information, and Matt, we know we have a gem in him and that department, and we appreciate that very, very much. My question is, when I was up the Capitol a couple of weeks ago, there was a bill being talked about taking funding, or, making the youth or their family not pay funds. Your thoughts and feelings about that, or any interpretation?
Yeah, that came out, I think, a Friday, a couple of weeks, not last Friday, but the Friday before, and that pretty much smacked most county administrators and commissioners. We didn't know the state didn't know anything about it. We knew that some people were talking about 6 months ago, maybe looking into it. We had no idea that it was already, basically, they were working on putting this bill forward. My thoughts on it, I kind of have to stay pretty neutral. I think the county should have the discretion to impose certain fines and fees. Is there room for improvement in that? Maybe a little, but the way that bill, the way I've looked at it, is written, is just it's blanket. The counties can't charge anything juvenile probation, and I don't agree with that. And I'll go on the record for that.
So Commissioner Huff asked me to respond to that bill, and I sent him an email. I don't know if he had forwarded that or not, but
You did.
so from a fiscal standpoint, it would have a significant impact on our county. We anticipate about $70,000 to $73,000 in probation fees and diversion fees each year. We run almost our entire B budget out of that trust account, which is paid for through fees. The senator who proposed that bill is concerned that we can't engage families effectively if there's fees between us and the family. And I understand where he's coming from to some degree in that regard, but I also believe that part of the Juvenile Corrections Act is about accountability. And for people who are utilizing the services within that system to pay something towards those services can be helpful. And I think it's part of the accountability. We could charge for detention costs, we don't. We could charge for drug test costs, we don't. We could charge for electronic monitoring fees, we rarely do that anymore. We charge the $25 a month probation fee, there's a $100 diversion fee for court diversions, and that's really the majority of the fees. And I think there's some concern that this is considered cash register justice, and do you leave people on probation longer so you can, increase your revenue? And I can assure you, we don't do that. We asked the court to waive quite a few fees for families who are indigent. And so we try to be really responsive to what the family's capacity are. If somebody's living with a grandparent or an aunt or uncle, we almost always ask for a waiver in those fees.
So just so you know, that was House Bill 500. I just pulled the tracker on it. It's Erickson, Representative Erickson out of Idaho Falls that pulled it up, but it looks like it's going to die in Judiciary and Rules Committee. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere this year.
He said he intended it not to go anywhere this year at this point. He had a meeting with us, and
okay.
But he does plan to bring it back next year. And I think the other thing the county needs to be aware of, every time the judge orders a competency evaluation, juvenile psychosexual evaluation. You know, those competency evaluations are in between $1,200 and $2,500 depending on the situation. Right now, under the statute, families reimburse the county unless they're determined indigent. It's the same with juvenile psychosexuals, which cost us between, you know, at a minimum $1,000 and really on the maximum end for us about $1,800. So if he brings that bill back with those same expectations and there's not something else in the funding, the expenses to the county is going to go up significantly, not just the loss of probation fees, but these other court-ordered assessments, evaluations that families have an obligation under statute to reimburse if they can. No family will be responsible, even if they have the capacity to reimburse. It'll eliminate all fees and reimbursement, and those will all be shifted to the county.
Okay.
Sounds like we're all on the same page. A very big concern.
We'll keep talking about that as the session comes to an end and understanding what's going to happen up there again, and we'll keep working through it and be ready for a formal response, because I think it caught everybody off guard, especially in the county.
Absolutely.
So normally you get some warning on something like that, and the representative just RS'd it and dropped it one morning and nobody knew it was coming. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Any
Cool.
further questions?
no, thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Let's do Scott first, because we have that hiring we have that hiring everybody have to get up and go outside.
Okay. Scott, we're going to bring you up right now.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure just about everybody in this room is here for you, so.
Well, we have a lot of people. We have a few people that will not be able to make it until after 10. So,
Okay. Well, we may end up with an executive session, so I was just going to try to.
okay, that's fine. Well, thank you. Scott Crowther, Business Manager, Event Director for the Event Center Wellness Complex. And today we have a few things to get taken care of. We had a few other things that we had to kind of cancel off our list, but we will start with District 4 High School Rodeo. Is Connie here? Come on, Connie.
Believe it or not, we don't bite.
I'm laid back, and I don't know if I've had my shots.
If you would just mind introducing yourself, Connie. For the
I'm
record.
Connie Wynn. I'm the 4th District Queen Coordinator for the high school.
And so this year, they have reserved the dates of April 2nd to do the Queen Pageant for the 4th District High School Rodeo, and they are requesting a fee waiver for the indoor arena and for Building B for the use. And did you want to just describe the things you do in both those areas and real quick?
In the indoor arena, we'll do the horsemanship pattern, and usually we have, for the last couple of years, we've only been having like 2 to 3 contestants, so it'd only be about an hour. And I know the Freeds have a roping going on, so we're going to do it in a reverse order, where we're going to do the horsemanship pattern in the morning. So we would be done before the Freeds would do their team roping, and then go up to Building B. And up in Building B, we would do the speech and modeling, the testing, and the interview. It is open to the public. The only thing that's not open to the public is the testing and the interview part. No admission for any of it, and I only have a budget of $250, and with that $250 I need to buy prizes and pay for my judges. So that's why I'm asking if I could get a little bit of a fee waiver or pay some for the use of the building and the indoor arena.
So what's a total time request? How much are you going to be on site? You're going to use the riding arena for what?
I'll be in the riding arena for about an hour.
And then we're going to prep and have it for Chris Freed going on?
Yeah, we'll have it prepped that day
And
regardless.
then B building, you're just going to set up a couple tables and chairs, and that's about it?
Yeah.
A couple
And I'll
hours?
be out of there probably, let the girls between after they get off their horse, they would have to go prim and proper and, get the makeup and stuff redone. And so I start back up at Building B probably about 10:30, 11, and probably be out of there no later than 4 o'clock, if even then. Because a lot depends on the number of contestants that I would have.
Okay.
And even then, I would, tear down the chairs and tables and stuff like that that would even be set up.
I know in the past this has been done, and they usually just go in and they'll make sure everything's cleaned up, taken out. In the past, they actually did it, I think one of the Queen organizations did it, they actually just did it under the grandstands one time. And
That's a
I'm-
different
yeah,
organization, but they do
but
essentially the same thing.
The whole thing is it's not a paid event, it's not a big thing, I'm okay with it. Ernie might have a different opinion, but
Well, you can see everybody in here, and everybody in here is asking for the same thing. And that weighs pretty heavy on my mind, because we're giving away county dollars. And this one especially, where it's youth, I'm a lot more lenient in this way. But whenever we've had youth groups, we've asked for a donation of time towards cleaning or doing something. If we have activity up there at that event, during that event or something else, if Scott calls you and says, I need some help, that's what I expect. I expect people to come back and to say thank you for that courtesy.
Yes, sir.
And so, like I say, an hour, that's not a lot of time. You'll be there during the day in the other building. Everything's cleaned up and taken care of, then I don't have a problem. But if it isn't, then there won't be a next year.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we waive the fees on the contract with 4th District High School Rodeo Queen Contest as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, is Jonathan here? All right, come on up. Let's bring everybody up. I'll slide down one chair.
Okay.
All right, the next contract we have is for Pocatello Chubbuck Schools, the New Horizons Schools. And they have requested to use the amphitheater on June 1st for a high school graduation. So they are asking for the fees to be waived for the cost of the amphitheater. Would you like to describe your event a little bit? Introduce yourselves first, please, for the record, and then please, you.
So it's up for our alternate school, and last year we used the amphitheater for the very first. Introduce myself. Sorry. I'm Sue Pettit. I'm the Director of Secondary Education.
I'm Amy Prescott. I'm the principal at New Horizon.
I'm Jonathan Balls, the director.
So last year was the first year we used the amphitheater for graduation for our alternate school. Up until that time, we'd been able to use some smaller venues because the classes were a little smaller. But we had a large class last year and had a fantastic event at the amphitheater, and it was requested that could we please do that again this year. Last year we graduated 130-ish students at that graduation, and this year we're looking at very close to the same amount.
Yeah, the same.
About the same amount this year. Our alternate school is one of the highest graduating schools for alternate schools in the state of Idaho. Significantly higher than the average. And last year it was 80%?
It was 80.8. We were higher than the state average.
Oh, significantly.
Only by like 0.7, but we were higher. So that
Yeah. They do a fantastic job, and these are second chance kids. They probably wouldn't be graduating from high school on time, and going to our alternate school, they get an opportunity to graduate on time or to graduate at all. So we're requesting that we get to do our graduation there again. It was a fantastic event for us.
I think you already heard Commissioner Moser, and I'll kind of, and I think we had this conversation last time.
We did.
Again, an amount of service, especially in a school, I would actually ask, go talk about local government for an hour and teach some kids how the system actually works. Because I was in a meeting yesterday and adults had no idea how our government works. So, you know.
Of course, he was in Boise.
Yeah. This is the legislature, so the people that should know definitely didn't. Yeah, again, we did this last year. I would ask, help set up, take down, clean up, square that away, and I'm okay with that then.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract as requested by Pocatello Chubbuck Schools for graduation for New Horizons graduation as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And actually, I appreciate you coming to the amphitheater and doing this. From what I understand, last year was a positive experience. And we have a lot of things that happen up at that event center that we need them youth to realize that they own it
Yeah,
and don't need to harm it.
yes. Yeah. And we do have, I know for fact, one high school that goes up and spends at least a day, 2 days doing community service throughout that and just cleaning up. But yeah, we will leave it spotless for you.
I would just definitely say, come on, local government.
Yep,
Come on.
oh, absolutely.
Talk how counties
Absolutely.
work, that's the.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
All right, who do we got next?
Appreciate that. All right. Dr. Shropshire?
Oh, Dr. Shropshire.
I'm Steve Shropshire, Professor of Physics at Idaho State University.
So last year was the first year that Professor Shropshire did his haunted physics lab up at in the B building. And from everything we were able to see and hear, it was a pretty cool event. So he would like to continue to do that again this year up in the B building. And so he would use the B building from October 13th through the 6th of November. And so, do you want to just describe the event itself and then maybe how things went last year and go from there?
Well, last year we had 1,420 students, mostly from District 25, but from as far away as Rupert, McCammon, Blackfoot, American Falls, come in for field trips during the week we had it open. It's basically a series of interactive science exhibits. We were limited quite a bit last year due to COVID restrictions by the university. We were not allowed to have a public event, which we have had in the years past. The Haunted Science Lab has existed in one form or another for well over a decade. Actually, for about 10 years, now 9 years, we've been doing field trips for schools. Prior to that, we've had it open for usually 1 or 2 nights to the public. We rely very heavily on volunteer labor from Idaho State University, from the Pocatello Kiwanis Club, and a number of other community organizations. And we would like this year to, have larger group sizes. That was restricted. We had to move people through what the university called cohorts, where they were basically the same classes. We could mix 2 classes, even if they were small, together, and that limited the number of folks we could serve, number of field trips we could schedule. Also, the big thing was we could not have a public day, which it's very popular in the community. We've had as many as 1,000 people come through in just a few hours when we've offered this open to the public. When we have open to the public, we've the Pocatello Kiwanis has charged an entrance fee. Pretty much turn it over to the club for that day. They ask $3 per person, $7 for a family of up to 6 people, and they use that fund entirely, those funds entirely, to support their children's charities.
So I said this last year. I had the opportunity to take one of your classes and I passed. So I look at anytime I can pass a physics class. Yeah, man. But this again goes back to I had to have this discussion with my 6-year-old about motion, electricity, and what a Newtonian fluid was. And so, again, I get back to that this is something that in our community that we don't have a lot of opportunities for these kind of experiments, and especially the push for STEM in our community needs to be greater. And so this is, again, I just want all you guys to know in the audience, you're catching us on a good day here, because normally it would be like, no. But again, this goes back.
We haven't voted yet.
We haven't voted yet. I might have just changed Ernie's mind. Sorry, man. But I do appreciate these kind of events. These are things that we need to have kids understand. Science isn't scary. It's not intimidating. You need to go in and you actually, when you see stuff like this, for me, this is what made me want to be a chemist or a physicist until I decided I didn't like the math that well. So, but I'm okay with working this out. This is something that I really think is important to our community.
So how did things work up there last year?
I think it went quite well. It was very labor intensive. We had to wipe down all surfaces with disinfectant between field trips, which also delayed how many field trips we could have in a day. The kids seemed to have a wonderful time. Everybody was required to wear masks. We didn't have as much stuff broken this year as we have in years past, which was good. Volunteers were all very engaged. We had quite a bit of help. I like to think that we left the place cleaner than we found it.
Yeah.
So my only question, and that is that if you allow somebody else to come in and charge a fee, I'd like to know kind of the amount of money that they make and where them funds went. I don't want somebody coming up there and gaining off of something that we're giving for free. And so that's just what I'd like a little feedback on that.
Of course.
It says, you know, this is what happened and this is where the monies went in the community.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract for the haunted physics, ISU haunted physics, or haunted science laboratory as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
His class is
Weaver, are you here representing? Great, thank you. Next, we've had a request from our compatriots in the military to use the B building from March 3rd through March 5th to conduct drill weekend. Would you like to explain just a little bit about, first off, introduce yourself and then.
Good morning. I'm, excuse me. I'm Staff Sergeant Austin Weaver. I'm here on behalf of the 1st Battalion, 148th Field Artillery, headquartered in Pocatello. The event that we have planned is our battalion combat lifesaver training.
Combat life taker.
So it's a annual requirement for 10% of our soldiers to complete. So battalion-wide, we have around 60 soldiers that need to complete this training. This is typically something that we do in our armories, but there's been a curriculum change last year, and due to that, we need to have everyone consolidated for centralized training. Our armory isn't big enough to sustain that, and so we're requesting a fee waiver to use Building B. It would allow us to have that space for training, and we'd be willing to give back to the community in any way in return.
I would say talk to your sergeant major, do a police call, clean up the area, go around. That'd be a good drill weekend. This is just CLSN?
Yes.
So this is battalion-wide function?
It is.
Okay. You have any outside battalions or anybody else coming in, or just 148?
No, just 148.
Okay. You guys, where you guys, oh, wait, I can't ask that question in public. I was gonna say, where are you going to AT this year? But never mind. Yeah, I'm again, just clean it up, make sure you're good, especially that way. Jason used to be in the 148.
Okay.
Yeah. So, who's your company, who's battalion commander now?
Colonel Brady Johnson.
Okay, it's a good thing you're here. I was gonna see if you forgot. What? I'm good. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the fee waiver for the first 148 for use of the B building as presented.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You've heard my spiel.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Who's your sergeant major now?
Sergeant Major Robert Ruby.
All right, we'll talk to him. Be like, go police call something for us.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool, thanks, Sergeant.
All right, Tracy?
What platoon were you in? Oh, you're the Fister platoon.
Yeah. I will save that one for then a minute. Matt? Why not, Matt?
Yeah, football guys.
Yeah. All right, Matt, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. So Matt Hager, I'm with Friday Night Flag.
So just coming up here to discuss the season with you guys.
So Matt has requested a fee reduction. So there's 2 seasons in the year that they use the facilities. April, dates are in April, and then in September and October. And they're requesting a flat fee of $1,000 per season for the championship field, and if they get the championship field and one of the soccer fields, a flat fee of $1,500 per season to use those areas. So
Last year when we talked, what was our agreement? How much was it last year?
We
talked about-
paid $1,500 for just the championship field. So we've pretty much paid full price every single season. The only reason why I'm looking, at the reduction is because we're gonna have to expand most likely up to another field. So the field that we're looking at is the one, now if you're looking at the championship field, it's the one just to the right, like where that path is.
Been there every Friday night.
Yeah, so, we, last year to kind of keep it in check, we kept everything down the championship field. I don't know that I'm going to be able to this season. I really don't. I would like to, but I think we're going to be heading up top here pretty soon.
Got enough kids coming in?
We do. We have a lot of kids, and part of this, with what we do is, every night we clean up. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever left the fields in bad shape. I spend hours every night cleaning up garbage and anything else. It's, if Mr. Moser's been there, but yeah, we have a pretty good turnout for the community. It's a pretty good event. We try and make it more family friendly than anything. So we'll have, vendors there. We usually have a bounce house on opening night, and it's just been pretty good turnout through the community.
I'm just going to say, make sure whatever those vendors, whatever you're doing, they have their electrical inspection, and it's done
Yes.
through Scott, so we don't
We do
have
that every
any,
time, yeah.
we don't make the state electrical inspector mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, if you're going to go to the other field, these don't conflict with soccer or anything
no,
else
we've
during
made
that
sure
time?
the dates are good for
Yeah.
both.
So if they're not up there doing it, the field just sits vacant on that night. Okay.
Well, honestly, I have a tough time going backwards from where we were at last year. If we was at 1,500 last year, I have a tough time going back to 1,000. You're asking for 14 days. And,
So it'd be $1,500 per season though.
Yeah, so you're going to pay,
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
spring and fall.
yeah.
And
Did you
that's,
pay $1,500 flat last year for both seasons? So
No,
15 per
I
season.
paid 15 per season.
So on this one, you're asking for either 1,000 for the champion or 15 for the champion and the
Yeah.
bigger.
Which, if you look at the fees this year, they're different than last year too. So this year's fees, if I were to pay full on just the championship field, it's like $1,200, which last year I paid $1,500 for just the championship field, for less amount of time than what I'm asking for
I
as well.
don't have a problem with doing 1,500 for both the fields if they're doing those, because if they're not being used, it's an opportunity cost. And then if you're going to grow the program and you're going to do it, you're going to be back, and we keep working through concessions and stuff like that. We will have a concession vendor that will be on site for us. So our concession stand will be open,
Yeah.
so we have revenue that's being made out of concessions as well that's not taken by you guys.
Well, and that's what we talked about last year, as soon as you guys have that in place, we would love to have the concessions there for you guys. And we would give you guys, whatever night you want, we're totally good with that. We've always wanted that,
Okay.
so.
Well, and that's why I say if you have concessions there, that makes up the residual cost, and it does make it to where then good people go. That's, I get that. Yeah.
so last year we paid $3,000. And this year you want it for 15, basically. For
15
both
is
fields.
3,000 though.
Yeah, so it'll be 3,000 for the whole year.
the
Last
whole
year,
year.
yeah.
That's if I use the upper field. And if I do, I think I will. I shouldn't say if. I think we're going that route, but I don't think I'll use the whole field. And honestly, it's Friday nights. The only people up there are just people hanging out. We never conflict with any other event.
So yeah, so you're doing 1,500 a season, 2 seasons a year, so it's $3,000
$3,000,
for the
yeah.
season for both fields is what they want.
Okay. All right.
Do that. Mr. Chairman, I move approve the contract is presented for $1,500 per season for 2 seasons per year for a total of $3,000 for both fields as indicated for the Friday Night Lights contract.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it. I'll keep you updated.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we are moving along. So, let's see. Is Jessica here?
She's on her way.
She's on her way.
KT's here.
Okay. So we can, the next two contracts kind of have a few, or the next two points have some common thread to them. And so I'd like to preface both of them before inviting the folks up. So last year, as you guys are aware, we turned over our staff and we started to learn how to do what we do today, right? And one of the areas that we had a pretty good learning curve in was ground prep for some of the equestrian events. Last year, both the BCRA and the Bannock roping had come and received fee reductions for the events that they hold up at our facilities. I can say that on a few of the days, they did not receive the product from us that they paid for. The ground looked good, but it was not, at times was not suitable for the events that they hold, nor was it safe for folks to ride. I personally witnessed people pull up to get out for an event, get their horses out, walk around the arena, turn around, put their horses away, and drive home. Part of that, I think, did lead a little bit to reduced numbers of members in both of these clubs, which did put a little bit of a hardship on them. I do believe that we have remedied that. We spent a lot of time and effort in getting our staff trained and prepared to where we can provide a good quality product moving forward. And I don't feel like we will necessarily have any issues with our ground moving forward. That being said, I have both of these groups back again to ask for a fee reduction essentially to what it was last year. So Ashley, would you mind coming up? Ashley?
Yes,
Ashley and I met, and I also had a phone conversation with Jessica to talk about these fee reductions, because if there's a fee waiver, I want to make sure that that's something that I support rather than just bringing to the commission. And because of the reasons that I explained before, I also support Ashley's request for this fee reduction. So, Ashley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Ashley Stoddard. I am the residing president of the BCRA, which is Bannock County Rodeo Association. I want to say this association's been involved with Bannock County for close to, what would we say, 40 years? Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, so close to 40 years. We are a strong youth association. We're one of the only associations throughout the eastern Idaho side, whether it's up by Rigby, down by Downey, Preston. We put on a huge youth program, provide lots of year-end awards for these guys, saddles, bridles, any gift cards, things like that. And we really help our youth get involved with the junior rodeo and the high school rodeo as well. They come down and use our association as basically a good practice for them to get set up for some of those events through junior rodeo and high school rodeo.
Okay. So you're talking for, what, 21 days?
20 days.
20 days?
I believe it's 20 days. It should be right about there.
Okay. We're talking, let's see here. I'm reading this as fast as I can. Sorry, my computer had to restart while I was, like, right as you walked up. And
It's all good.
7 to 9, 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
So we changed last year. One of the reasons the increase in the fees is because we changed from a hourly rental to a full day, half day rental. And so even though it's a 2-hour rental, it's still a half day.
Yeah.
So they still pay for that day. So that is one of the major increases we see in the fees this year.
As well as a truck.
According to our fee schedule, this would be $96.80,
Correct.
and you're asking for $61.70.
No, I'm asking for 25. Last year, there's a total from 20 From 2019 to 2020 and 2021, we paid a total of $6,170 over the
okay.
3 years. So last year, I paid $2,450 straight up, which I didn't ask for a fee reduction or anything last year. I paid the complete total amount that it was required. This year, with the fees increasing and with no fee reductions, it comes to $9,680, which is a significant increase. And it's just hard for our nonprofit association to try to jump that high. And I mean, I don't know if it helps, but I do have a tax ID and an information for them.
You're okay.
Okay.
Okay. So then you're asking to go back to
I'm happy to pay $2,500,
25?
$3,000.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a really hard increase for
No, I have a question for you though.
Please.
Are you guys selling tickets to the gate?
No.
Are you charging anybody like that? Because that's one thing that everybody that kind of irritates me on some of them is people will say, well, we want it for free because it's here for a benefit of everybody, but then they'll charge a gate fee or they'll charge a rodeo, and so they're actually pocketing and making money off of the business. But if you're not doing that, that's
So
fine.
the only fee that we charge is we charge a $25 entry fee that goes back into the payout for the people.
And helping to pay for this.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's the only, I mean, we have a membership group, and that membership group helps us as well to set, to help with tractor fees and arena fees and youth awards and things like that. So we're not charging an admission, we're not selling drinks, we're not providing any concessions, anything along those lines. So any fees that are being distributed are going directly back into payouts, awards.
On a typical night, how many people do you have show up?
Oh, between 30 and 50. It kind of depends on weather. It depends on the time of the year. We start in April using the indoor arena specifically, and we have a decent turnout because the indoor arena is kind of nice, but it's hard for people to warm up outside just because the weather can be kind of crappy. Usually June, July, August are our solid, really good time of the year, and we usually get upwards of 50 people that come and ride.
Okay.
Well, you said the magic number that I was thinking of. I was thinking of $3,000.
Okay.
Honestly.
Mhm.
Fuel prices, everything else, it's a variable for us right now. I think this is a good deal, and you're asking for a lot of days,
Yeah.
which keeps us from renting it out to somebody else.
Correct.
So that we have a cost on that end.
And I'm renting 2 arenas as well. So, I mean, that helps as well, kind of
Yeah.
keep that part as well.
Concerned with that?
I don't have any concern with it. I like she and I talked, as we are better at what we do, the cost is the cost, right? The cost of doing business is the cost of doing business, and I don't think that we inflate our costs. I feel like we do our best to keep our costs low, and so eventually we'll have to get to that point where the cost is just the cost. But I do feel this is a fair compromise for this year, for sure.
Okay. And you're
3,000 we can manage.
okay.
We'll manage 3,000. It's not 9,000. So.
And we're here to help and to work, but like I say, we still have the
Well,
responsibilities.
and we're happy to help, volunteer some hours, kind of pull some weeds, do what we need to do around there. So Scott and I talked about that quite a bit.
If you can fit somewhere, if you can figure somewhere out to put like an oil rig to help pay for fuel costs, that's really what we need here, guys. And that's usually the thing that, and like I say, that's the most, when you have fuel costs that spike.
Oh, I totally
That's
understand.
what we're trying to cover here, is cover the fuel costs, cover those real hard things that we actually have to write the checks for.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm usually okay with, and that's kind of like with the last guys at the football fields. They'll pay for the fuel costs, they'll pay, that's what that's for. We're not trying to gouge or make money off people, we're just trying to make sure that we have enough money in the pot that, we can take care of it, and we're not gonna defer maintenance to take care of your event.
Sure.
And that's the other main thing we wanna do, is that if we need to be able to buy tractors and equipment and all that, we actually have money to do that instead of, not. And then you have a dangerous.
Our rental fees were higher this year than what we expected.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract as presented from the Bannock County Rodeo Association for the dates indicated for a total amount of $3,000.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
All right, Jessica? Come on up. Just introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Jessica Couch. I am the Secretary Treasurer of the Bannock Roping Club. And our club has been going since about 1970. Throughout the years, when we've asked for fee reductions, we have always been willing to try to do some sort of work trade in return for that, knowing that it does take costs to keep things going and to be able to pay the bills. But if there's a way that we can work out some of the fee reduction in labor, we would be happy to do that. In the past, we've helped paint the rails on the racetrack. We've helped build fences. We've helped build outbuildings, things like that. So we are our club as a whole is just a group of people that are trying to create a safe, fun, and family-oriented place to practice roping, to try to help further our community and our roping abilities and being able to help give kids a place to come and learn that is a safe environment, but also being able to provide a fun time for their family. So it kind of becomes a family event. And over the years, it has dwindled some, and we are really hoping that we're going to be able to increase our numbers and continue on with our club going. But the whole goal of this is to try to create a fun, safe place for people to be able to rope and have some good camaraderie that's good, clean fun.
Okay. How much did you pay last year? Because I didn't see it in my.
So
I don't see
last
any cost here.
Yeah.
Last year we had a pretty shortened year with a lot of the dates that we got rained out with, or we ended up having to cancel some of our dates. So we actually had a very low year last year, right around that 700 mark. Years previously, if I look back to the last 3 or 4 years, we were usually paying anywhere between $1,300 and $2,000 for the nights that we were roping. We have, in the past, normally roped from the beginning of May to the end of September or to the first 2 weeks in October. With the diminished amount of members that we have this year, we've decided to consolidate and shorten our season from May 15th to September 15th, so we're cutting a month off. But usually in the past we've paid about, it was always per hour, so it was anywhere from like $18 to $23 per hour for a minimum of 3 hours of roping, because normally we rope from about 7 to 9 p.m. And so we were really hoping to have something similar to that this year.
Okay, and this is the outdoor arena? It's not the
Yeah, it
indoor
would be Arena 2.
Okay.
And we were kind of going in conjunction with the BCRA on trying to do it on the same night to help being able to facilitate, you could work all 3 arenas at the same time, and then you're not having people come in on every single day just to work one arena. So that was also part of our hope, is that maybe that would also save a little bit of time and money for you guys to be able to work all 3 of those lower arenas at least one night a week.
And what's the age group of the participants?
Age group of our participants range from about 15 years old to 72. Anybody that is under the age of 18 we have a set of bylaws that we adhere to and make sure that all of our participants adhere to. But everybody under the age of 18 has to have an adult guardian present in order to compete. And they know that it is a event that can be dangerous, and it's a ride and rope at your own risk, and that is signed into our bylaws as well.
Okay. In this form, we have June 6th and June 23rd that are highlighted yellow.
Yes, I believe those are the 2 dates that Annie had talked to me about, that they are already reserved. I had just gone through and wrote down all of the potential dates that we wanted. She's already spoke to me with that, and I'm okay with not being able to rope those 2 nights because there's other things going on.
So you're asking for 31 nights, then,
Yeah.
basically.
Roughly 90 hours. So, and if we did 90 hours at $25 an hour, is $2,200, $2,250 for the season.
Well, because you're only using one arena, I can justify not charging you $3,000, just like we just did the last one. So I'd say $2,000.
Okay, that would sure.
That's would be my.
Okay.
And we would really, honestly, if I can work with him and come up with some projects, our club would be happy to spend some man hours to try to help.
Do you know what you guys could do for me that would probably make me happier than that? Is everybody park where you're supposed to park, and don't take your horses over into the RV park. And somebody rode a horse down the walking path. I'm just saying, help us police the area.
Absolutely.
Somebody rode a horse right down the walking path and didn't clean up after the horse. And so it's just help with those kind of things. That's what we're talking about. Be good stewards of the area that you're there.
Absolutely.
And if people are out driving in areas and doing things they shouldn't be doing, just correct it for us, and that would help a lot.
That's easy. We can definitely do that. And we try, when we're up there, if we see trash blown around, if we see stuff, we try to help pick it up. If we see metal pieces out in the parking lot, I mean, a lot of the time the guys end up picking up and you just throw it in your pocket, and then you get home and you take your pockets out and you have all this metal stuff that's been in the parking lot, and so we try to do that as well, so.
And I really appreciate you working with Scott and having special times when you clean up. But I expect that out of everybody that comes and uses the facility. That isn't a conditional use if we give you a break.
Right,
So
no.
it's just, this is our facility.
Yeah.
There are a few things that as we kind of identify the projects that we can get knocked out and then we have the resources for, I'll definitely reach out to both Ashley and Jessica to see if there's things they can help us to accomplish.
Okay, like I said, just help us with those things would really be a big, be good neighbors when everybody's up there using it, because what's happening in that facility is more and more people are showing up there of all different events and sporting events and groups, and if everybody plays nice, then everybody wants to support the facility, and that facility is there for us to use.
For sure.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the contract as presented by the Bannock Roping Club for a total amount of, was it $2,000?
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep, see you.
Braden, you just need us to approve this to send to Tony?
I gotta take it to him.
You ready for this? And we just take 2 seconds, this letter for the...
Everything's the same except for the first paragraph.
That first paragraph, you just mellowed it out a little bit so it didn't like Jake back on. This is just a memo to Tri-County Sheriff.
Good with that?
Yeah, you want to do this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
One second.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, because of timeliness needed on this, I am requesting a memo and signatures from the Bannock County Commissioners requesting assistance in the Tri-County Sheriff's Association for our forensic pathologist initiative with the state legislature. I would ask for approval of the memo as presented and authorize, actually there's no signatures on this, but authorize it to be sent to the Tri-County Sheriff's Association.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 I'll get the one with your signatures to you.
Okay, we'll sign it as soon as we can.
Passes unanimously.
Yep, go ahead and send that to Tony. Thank you, Brady, for working on
Thank you,
that.
guys.
Okay, next. So we have a contract that I'm presenting before you, and over the next couple weeks, I'm sure you'll see many more of these. But this is a contract for Monster Truck Freedom Tour. The Monster Truck Freedom Tour would like to use the grandstands in the upper arenas. They'll come in, a day early and kind of set up for the grandstand. They'll run 2 days, Friday and Saturday. They'll run monster truck shows. Last year, I think that they ran 3 shows when they came, but they'll run anywhere from, I don't know, maybe 2 to 4 shows in those 2 days, and then we'll tear down the facility and get it set back up for normal operations that fall on the August 21st. Part of this contract, they'll pay $2,500 to the county in return.
I have a question here.
Go ahead.
Because originally this was crossed off of our, the ones highlighted?
The ones that are highlighted are the ones that are on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, make sure we didn't.
Oh, you're
I'm not seeing
Make
it.
sure we didn't take it off the agenda.
Do you have a copy of it, Ernie? If you don't, I can give you this one.
I don't think I pulled that one.
Okay, I had electronic, but I don't see one, a hard copy here, so.
Okay, I'll go grab it.
No, it's okay. We'll talk with Scott here.
Okay. They have agreed to pay $2,500 for the rental of the grandstands, and then we will take 100% of alcohol and concessions.
Okay.
Which, pretty good deal.
Okay, and that was for 5 days.
That's for 5 days. So the reason we blocked out the 5 days is really for our staff and their staff to flip the racetrack from being a racetrack to a monster truck track back to a racetrack.
So, for 5 days, but they're only holding one event.
They're holding, so they're
holding two
going to
events a
hold,
day.
Two events.
they'll run 2 days.
Okay.
So it'll be Friday and Saturday that the dates will
not-
go.
Okay.
So the dates may be, they may do 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. They could do 1 and 1, whatever. Whatever those dates may be, they just coordinate with us so we know and approve that.
But they're not doing that for 5 days?
No.
Not like last
It is
time
only
we paid
for
$500
2
and had like 8
It is for
shows.
2 days.
Okay. I'm good with
It's
that.
just set up and tear down, and we've got, and honestly, it takes us time to flip it back and forth.
Okay.
So the RV park and everything else. I
Everything
mean,
else is not
They was
included.
parking outside of the RV park and using areas outside of the grandstand.
So that was actually, it was a request on this one as part of the contract too. Was
Is
that
the
they
staging
could-
area?
That they could park a truck a couple days before to stage. So, and then we would just determine where they park that truck.
I would move them over in the gravel parking lot over by you
Yeah,
guys or
and that's
something
fine.
like
And they didn't need any power or anything. It was just a matter of putting the truck there for a couple days till they could bring in the rest of their equipment.
So I heard good things about last year, but I heard negative things. What about your opinion? I mean,
So, we have had multiple monster truck, demolition derby, like a lot of groups want to come and use that area because it is very profitable. And from hearing from these guys, it was one of the highlights of their entire tour. I think last year the communication wasn't great, but there was also at the time of the monster truck rally, we were in a state of confusion and transition. And so what I heard from people that used to work here was different than what I heard from the people on this end, right? So it just sounded like a lot of confusion. We have a better connection as far as what our expectations are, what their expectations are, and I feel like I support this. If I didn't support it, I wouldn't bring it to you in the contract.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good event, and I think that the people in the area are going to enjoy it. And I think that it will be profitable for the county.
okay. Has Brian reviewed this contract?
Um,
To me, this is different from the other ones that we just talked about.
Yeah, this is not fee waiver, and this format of the contract, I know Annie had sent something over, because this is kind of just a different format for the contract, but the contract should be very similar to, so.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Honestly,
I'm good.
If all the I's have been dotted and the T's crossed, I'm good.
And this contract is how we will present our contracts moving forward with, anytime we have a profit share with, whether it's high school rodeo, Pocatello Downs, anything, it'll be in the standard format, so hopefully it's easy to read and to follow along too, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the monster truck contract as presented.
And because the hard copy's not in front of us,
You guys want this hard copy right here?
We'll take that.
well, I was just wondering do you need it before Tuesday?
Nope, I don't.
Let's go ahead and present it for signature on Tuesday.
Yes.
Is
Yeah, we can
what
do
I
that.
would like to do.
That's fine.
Okay. No, yeah, we can do that. Oh, I will remove my motion. There you go.
You know me, if I don't have a hard copy to look at,
That's okay.
I hate signing something.
Okay, the last, well, it's actually not the last item, but the next item will be the Donor Connect. So this is, I asked them to send this forward to bring to you guys because this situation has occurred now a couple times, and I just want to get maybe some guidance moving forward. What we have here is we have a nonprofit organization that does a Dash for Donation 5K. In the past, they've rented a pavilion, and then they've held a 5K walk run on our complex. They don't interfere with anybody else's opportunities to use the complex, but they pay for the pavilion rental because that's where they stage, that's where they do their events, all that stuff, and then they just use the facility as part of their event. This is one, since we've received this application, we've received additional applications for similar activities, where again, in the past, they've just rented a pavilion and then used the facilities. But I wanted to bring it forth to you guys. It is not an exclusivity thing. We're not going to shut down the trail and only allow people that are on the trail. It's still going to be open to the public, but they do have locations marked and they use the entire facility. The pavilion is their staging rental. And they are paying full fee for the pavilion. It's not a fee waiver.
My only concern is the assumption that they have ownership of the whole thing.
Great, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Sorry,
fine.
Tracy. Come on.
Okay.
Hi.
Thank
And
you.
like I say, my only concern is that you rent a pavilion and then the runners and people think that they have ownership of the whole facility. I mean, we've had that on the bike path, and they come in and run races and stuff like that, and other people aren't able to utilize the facility.
Yeah.
So to me, just because you pay for the pavilion doesn't mean you get the right to the rest of the facility.
Well, and I think that's the whole key is because of what we're doing is we're not shutting the facility, making it exclusive to you guys. It is, somebody else is up there running, just, they'll stay out of your way, you'll stay out of their way. And as long as we do that, then it's a pavilion cost fee and it's not a big deal. But that has been something in the past when people have come in and they pay for like the pavilion, but then they shut down to the public. That's when we have issues.
And like you said, it's the exclusivity, right?
Yes.
If you intend to exclusively allow just your folks to use it, that's where I think it turns into a rental
Yes.
and not use of the facility.
I'm okay with,
I'm
I'm okay with just, yeah.
Yeah, so basically in the past, we've actually had it's not like a super like high-end race. The idea behind the run is not an actual like race. We don't actually have people who are like trying to beat time clocks and things like that. The idea behind it actually is more so to, the event actually highlights the thousands of Idahoans who have benefited from organ donation, and it actually honors those who have given their lives. It's actually really neat. We have, along the race path, we actually set up these signs that people can have for their family members. So they put up these along the racetrack so that these are people who have benefited from organ donation, either those who have passed away and donated their organs. So it's a really neat way for families to come together and honor them. It's a very low-key thing. People bring dogs and walk. This is actually my husband and his donor. He had a live donor. So it's actually a really cool thing, and the money that's raised from the event actually stays here in Idaho. We have an education coordinator on staff who goes into the local high schools and talks to driver's ed classes, because there are a lot of myths regarding organ donation. It's really important to dispel those myths because it is really important. Right now, I think I looked, as of February 3rd, there's 106,000 people in the United States currently awaiting organ donation, and one life can save up to 8 people. So we just really pretty much stick to the same pavilion. We've actually used the complex for the last 6 years, I believe. The first year we held it there was in 2017, and I don't believe we've ever had any complaints with the event ever. We usually start the race about 8 a.m. We have a DJ who announces the race and things like that. And the way it works is we start with the runners first, and they go around 2 times for it to be 2 plus a little bit to be a 5K. So they start, and about 3 minutes later, they start the walkers. And again, we never conflict with each other. We've never had an issue, and I've been involved with this event since 2016. And we've really appreciated the use of the complex, and it's grown most years with the exception of last year due to COVID. We only had about 100 participants.
And Tracy, I'm sorry, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I'm Amber Davis.
Oh, then you're not Tracy.
Nope.
So I guess it's good that I didn't introduce you.
And I'm a volunteer with Donor Connect.
Thank you very much.
What date is this on again?
This is on June 25th, Saturday, June 25th.
And we've had it in June, that same Saturday. I think it's the 4th Saturday of June. With the exception of last year, we pushed it to September due to COVID, hoping that things would, because obviously the population that this is
A little bit more.
serving, yes, a lot of them are immunosuppressed and things like that, so they pushed it to September last year.
And actually, we're kind of talking more than just this in
Yeah,
the
it's really
procedures and
two
stuff
issues,
here.
right?
Because a year ago, we had people rent the pavilion and then had a graduation march and all kinds of stuff on our soccer fields and set up all kinds of stuff just because they rented the pavilion. And that's why I'm 100% okay with this.
Yes, we only stick with the pavilion and we do use the walking path.
But-
There's nothing else set up. We're not on the grass, things like
As a
that.
procedural thing, I think that if somebody wants to use a pavilion and then any other parts of the facility, that needs to be a discussion with the commission.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I say,
At least,
it allows us to say, wait a minute, you weren't permitted to do this, you're trespassing, you're gone. I don't want to get in the habit of just anybody thinking they can rent the pavilion and do whatever they want. I mean, I don't want a beach party by somebody thinking they have full use of the lake either,
Cool.
you know,
For sure.
because they rented a pavilion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Donor Connect contract as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
I
you.
think we should do a Bannock County Steps Challenge that day.
We do that.
Hey.
Okay, the last two items are actually contracts or amendments to contracts that we have. So we have an amendment from Coca-Cola. When we wrote the contract initially with Coke, we have a volume, there's a volume quota, not quota, but like a volume that we need to meet. And so there was a section in there that was written to where if people came up, they would buy Coke from Coke, but then use our, like, essentially our contract to then, so we would get credit for the volume. After Coke reviewed it with their attorneys and we tried it for about a year and it was not successful. Since then, we've moved and kind of transitioned how we are doing all of our Coke sales and how we're running our concessions and our concerts. And this stuff is all addressed in an RFP where we purchase it and then through profit share, we essentially sell it back to the people that run the concessions, and then we take a part of the profit and we get our volume. So this is an unnecessary part of the contract, and Coke would like it removed. It removes section 2 that just essentially says that people can't buy Coke and then give us credit for it.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
You good, Brian?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the updated contract with Coca-Cola as presented.
You have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And last, we have been working on the alcohol permit for a minute. I think you guys are aware of the work that we put into the alcohol permit. I've actually assigned one of our staff members, Giovanni Hoskins, to really take this under his wing and move forward, and he's done a fantastic job. So as you are aware, in the past we've had a beer and wine license for the amphitheater. There was another beer and wine license held by another entity on the grandstands. We have actually identified a couple of different areas. One would be down by the indoor arena, the grandstands, and then also the port. And now we would just like permission to push this forward to the next step in the process. So once you guys sign it, then we will come back and ask for a check request, submit it to
ABC,
and then move forward. But I feel very confident with the work that Giovanni's done on our behalf.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the alcohol licenses presented.
You have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
So this application has got a lot of sensitive information in it. It's got names, social security numbers.
Oh, I'm aware.
Everything, addresses. It's got
my
everything.
fingerprints.
So I would just request that we use limited copies of that.
Yes.
Like as we go through and do check requests, and I mean we'll follow procedures for sure, but I just don't want to necessarily pass the full packet around for public consumption.
The check request
Consumption.
Great, if that's great.
Even not the whole document, we just
Yeah.
take the PII. The PII.
Ask him what sign it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't highlight it. Okay, epic failure.
The bottom of the last page of the application.
It only requires one signature from a representative member.
Ernie's it.
Okay. And then I did find the monster truck,
Oh, you did.
so we'll have to make a motion to go ahead and sign that one.
It's right here.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the monster truck agreement as presented.
We We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 It's like,
Remember that?
no, we have to pay per fingerprint card too.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So,
You guys work that out.
thank you.
You're good. I don't think we have any. Just about get to this. Yeah, we got the public defenders, which has quietly and patiently sat here and
For an hour and a bit.
I'm so sorry. She's like, I am so totally thinking about things to throw at you guys right now.
And
Do you want
with that
this one's
said-
heavy.
With that said, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you guys today, and we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public defense, come on up here. I'm sorry.
Just get with Nancy and see what she needs to.
Well, there's also this thing though that if we do have to go into an executive session and we clear the room, it's
I know.
It's
I'm glad you
amazing.
cleared the room for me.
It's amazing what happens.
Haven't done this since I was in college, and I'm not telling you when that was. So this is a salary rate approval form.
And state your full name, please.
Janelle Christensen with the Public Defender's Office. Do you want my title?
No, here.
Okay, good. It's too long. We have an opening in our office for a deputy public defender. The last time we had an opening, it took quite a while. So we had a gentleman who applied from Texas. He has a license in Texas, but he is 6 months short from doing reciprocity from Texas to Idaho. So he decided to sit for the bar, which is this month. April 13 is when bar results come out. So we would like to have him come on as a staff attorney, unlicensed, until the bar results come out. And then we would move him to the public defender position. Now, if he does not pass the bar, then he would be terminated. We have discussed this with him, and he is okay with that situation.
This position would be at a grade 14.
Yes.
And the public defender position is a grade 16.
16.
And then once you're
So-
licensed, you move to it.
Yeah, so the funding is there.
This is
It will
a
just-
grant position.
It's
It
a
is
grant position.
And it will stay a grant position.
Yes.
Well.
Okay.
This will just allow them to get some help on staff, and hopefully he passes the bar, and then they've got a position filled. That still leaves, I believe, we've got 2 positions vacant.
Yeah, we
in
still have 2
the grant.
positions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask one question, Mr. Chair? So, a staff attorney, but he's not an attorney here yet, or what is position? Would he be more like a paralegal or a clerk?
Correct.
Like, so a clerk is
Paralegal.
typically for judges, but what would his role be in the public defender's office until he gets
So
licensed?
he would pretty much a paralegal.
Oh, paralegal,
Or a,
okay. You said
A little
attorney, so
bit.
I was a little.
well,
He's a licensed bar attorney
It
in
would
Texas,
be-
just not here.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And so he would kind of be like a clerk. So he would prepare motions and do things for the attorneys. And he would be going through his caseload and probably doing work for his caseload and supervised by the attorneys in the office.
But he wouldn't be practicing law
He
until.
could not. No, he
right, 'cause
cannot.
That's the only thing
He
I would have
cannot do.
concern with the rest of the counties if we bring him on, then
No.
for all intents and purposes, like you're an attorney, go start doing that.
No, and we can't get him
Yeah.
supervised. We can't do the supervision like you could with someone who was sitting for the bar that just graduated. They won't let us do that.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Well, if we can get anybody on staff that gets rid of conflict attorneys, I'm all for it.
Here, here.
Somebody walks in here out of Texas, they should have zero conflicts.
No conflicts. They're from Texas. If they have a conflict, there's something wrong.
Just my feelings. Because this is already a position that is out there and available, and it's a grant position, I have no concerns.
Mr. Chairman, I would approve the salary.
We'll start running it through the process.
So we don't need a motion. Just go ahead and, I would just say, go ahead and run it through, and then we'll sign it on Tuesday.
Okay.
And
Can I speak?
Yes.
As it kind of relates to the HR, you know, I would maybe help you draft like a little, something in writing, you know, that you kind of just, because this is outside.
Stipulates the terms of employment.
Just kind of explains in writing what we're doing, and then so you have something to sign that way.
Yeah, and attach it.
I have it pretty much down at the bottom.
Okay.
It's pretty much to
Okay.
the point.
Look it over.
Okay.
Just
and
do
I
it.
can- okay.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable with that, then I'm fine getting,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
fine.
it's got to have his signature.
Yeah.
It doesn't move any further.
Yeah, if you want to take a look at that and see if you're okay. If you want to do something else, I'm fine with that too.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
whatever.
And that won't come
We-
before us till
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah. Normally, when we've done these kind of special hires in the past, that's normally, we've had something that's pretty laid out of,
Right.
Yeah,
And the
just
law
like a little
clerk,
paragraph.
the law clerk position, could we, I mean, it would follow in line with that, I believe.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, for all intents and purposes, it's a conditional hire.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so you're hired then.
Yep.
The condition.
I'm fine with that. Just bring it back to us.
What was that?
Wasn't that the situation with Lizzie?
Yeah.
Is he?
Hold on, let's not get into side with names of other employees.
Sorry, she's.
Yeah, but still, not in a public meeting.
All right. Any further questions?
Good.
I
All
don't
right.
have any.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us all week, morning.
Well, it was
Yeah.
nice to see how you guys work.
No, we're good.
I gotta go.
We're good.
Heather.
I feel like doing a standing ovation as Heather walks up here. I'm just saying.
Slow rolling
A
clap.
slow clap is good. Heather Studley, GIS Manager, and I'm just asking to update our online data request form.
I'm okay with it.
And all fees have already been,
All the things all been approved, it's just updating
Updating
the
the
form
form.
to show all of the available fees and the fact that we can take credit card payments now.
okay. I just wanted to confirm on the record that we're not raising anything, we're not.
No changes to the fees.
Yeah.
You're not asking for more personnel, right? Just checking.
Zing.
Mr.
That's
Chairman.
good. I want to keep you in your job.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the online fee form as presented for GIS.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Cool. Thank you.
Go
Thank you.
forward and do great things. Continue.
It looks so good.
Thank you.
So Julie's playing, we'll talk about that.
Shanda.
As long as we're gonna, just make sure it's on the agenda. Yeah. Are you gonna get on there?
Make sure.
Yeah, you tell.
Yeah.
It's getting ready.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shanda Crystal, Purchasing and Economic Analyst. I have 4 items before the board today. Starting with number 1. A few weeks ago, we talked about that the event center had looked and through their fleet and found that they weren't quite utilizing what they thought in both of the leased vehicles, the trucks, and that they would like potentially moving that, shifting it from one to the other. And it doesn't quite fit what they're looking for. It would
It's a
Uh,
Ford. I mean, yeah, if it's a Chevy, Burmester won't drive it.
That was not brought up, but it is bigger, right? It does have more bells and whistles. We knew that when we purchased it. And the money is not quite there. So they would prefer, even knowing potentially what may or may not happen in the next couple of years in the vehicle market, they do feel it's best that they don't ask for that today. And then Scott and his staff would like to terminate that lease and make some money off the truck.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I'd say go ahead.
Go forward.
Go forward and prepare the documents.
Okay. Okay, I will contact Enterprise and we'll get that picked up. Scott, if you'll get it over to Rotor Bridge, they'll strip it out. Okay, perfect. And then we'll report back the findings. Okay.
Western States Cat had a pretty good deal on a backhoe, just so you know. They were at the IAC conference, and I asked them about it. You need to talk to them. Just saying.
I don't think we'll make that much off the truck.
So he wants the money back.
Yeah, I know. Actually, that backhoe they had sitting in the parking lot that was there, IAC, I don't know if you saw it sitting out there, the big giant yellow backhoe. It actually is like what they lease them for
I
monthly
apologize.
payments was actually. Like,
I did not have time to talk with Mr. Crowther about
We
this
saved it.
that other item I would like to have him here for. If we can skip to number 3 for just a moment. Road and Bridge, again, has gone through their fleet and in updating, would like to get rid of a 1984 GMC flatbed. They do feel that it does still have some life left and would be interested in potentially seeing if the event center would like to utilize it either on their property or at the fairgrounds.
We can go look at it.
Go look at it. I
Yeah,
mean, if
definitely
it's
go look at
it. If it's something you
short
want.
box or,
Yeah.
you could use that for your plow truck instead of
It's a
the,
flatbed. Yeah.
Yeah, so we could definitely go take a look at it and see.
Yeah. If not, it's a classic, and you can probably sell it as.
So that is the next, right? If there's not use for it here at the county, then it would become before the board to send it to auction. But
okay.
they did mention specifically that potentially event center might find a use for it. So.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry
Thank you
about
very much.
that.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
Sorry, I did not have time to grab him before. If we can back up to number 2 then. The Malibu has finally arrived after about a year and a half after we ordered it. It is now in the city limits of Pocatello. We are waiting on title, which is fun. But it is here. So in doing so and talking with Reed Finley, they would have that as the new one arrives, right? They would like to turn back the other, a 2007 Honda Accord back to the county. I had the shop look and review. It still has some wonderful life left into it, and we would like to
how
find
many
a home.
miles are on it,
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't ask that one. So in doing so, we look first at the county, right? Old things that we can, change out, classic units that we can get rid of. So the shop has identified one, and I also had a department reach out to me for a new need. The one that was identified by the shop has 175,000 miles on it, so it is nearing the end of its life. It is a sheriff's office vehicle. It's used to commute back and forth to the jail. And they feel that that's the next one that potentially county-wide could be updated. And then the department that reached out was Jeff Underwood, and his cleaning staff is now handling all of the buildings outside of the courthouse. And they are making things work in between using the motor pool and their truck. But this car, if available, would have way better gas mileage than their truck does, and more a consistent place where they could keep paper products or stuff like that to just have it kind of stocked in their department vehicle. So he did feel that they would have enough room in there, that it wouldn't need tires this fiscal year, right? That they could be able to afford the additional fuel and maintenance costs for this year, but that they would put in some additional requests for the following year as it would need updated tires and things like that in the future if that was decided.
And I'd like to put that one on hold until we have a conversation with Tony. I don't feel like we should be paying for somebody to drive back and forth from home because you're a maintenance person. I don't see that as part of the job.
No, it's running back and forth to different buildings.
No, the sheriff's
Oh, the
request.
sheriff's, that's a commuting one?
Yeah, they take it home to Preston every night.
Yep, I agree.
We need to discuss that. Once upon a time, I had talked to Tony about relooking at who was taking vehicles home.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation.
That would be a good conversation if you guys would be involved because.
Yes,
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
why I don't want to move on
Yeah.
this until we talk with Tony. Have Tony come and it needs to be an elected officials meeting,
Discussion.
basically, in my opinion, to see who is actually driving vehicles home and not. And
Because those other two vehicles that we had talked about, I've actually been keeping an eye on it, and they are actually there. I haven't seen them go the way that.
the one's been gone on the weekend, if you're talking about the building down there by
Yep.
the police station. I've
Yep.
seen it gone on the weekend.
Yeah, it'll disappear. It'll be there Saturday, and it'll disappear on Sunday.
So maybe a department head elected officials, we could discuss.
Yes.
Taking vehicles home
Yes.
and setting criteria for
Yes.
a need.
Yes.
That's
That'd be great.
And that's, like I say, when this come to our attention, I'd rather have the right people in the room instead of just say, no, we're not gonna do this and do something else. But honestly, on this one, we've changed the janitorial. And if they can keep their toilet paper and everything else in the trunk of a car, instead of moving it in and out every time that they,
Well, and Jeff doesn't have to take the plow off the truck. I
Yep.
don't know if he brought that up to you. I'm the one that sent him your way, just simply because he was talking
Yeah.
about having the staff run around and the potential restructure, and so I told him to come talk to you because I'd seen this on the agenda.
I would a lot rather run this car than to run that leased truck that we have.
Yeah.
And there was, in presenting all options, I did talk with Josh, if it's so decided, we could put the 2007 at the sheriff's office. That one with 175,000 miles would be okay to run here in town if so
Well,
chosen to do.
that's what we need to have.
Well,
a
if we were gonna make a
conversation.
decision right now, that one would go to the janitorial.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, but there is no rush, right? The Malibu is not titled yet, so we can't pick it up. I am hoping in the next couple of weeks that will arrive and that we'll be able to get
Yep.
that.
And
That's
then we'll
fine.
just have it in our lot, one place or another anyway, so.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. So at the next elected officials meeting, you'll have that discussion and then we can decide what to do with the pond. Okay. I'm sorry, I got out of order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Procurement update. So I have 4 updates for the board today. The first one is on the architectural services for the detention center roof. That is under final review and hope to have it back before the board next week for your review and approval to get that project going. The next is the seasonal concessions for the event center. That was approved last week and it has been posted with a deadline of March 7th on that one. A little further down on the architectural services for the historical museum roof. We did meet last week as far as the project, right, with the design team, with Booth Architecture and what they needed from us, and then got an estimated timeline for that project. And they do feel that within 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in there, they should have all of the documents ready. We'll be able to issue the addendum for the roof and move forward on that project as well. And the admin flooring replacement project out of the sheriff's office. As we went out there yesterday for Mike Dahlquist's retirement, you might have noticed that it's looking fantastic. It is complete, they've got everything done, and they submitted the final invoice to Levi. This will be the first project that we'll run through and do a financial review. So Christy and I will work on that over the next little bit as the sheriff's office then turns in the final invoice. So it will be just a little bit, but then we'll work through how exactly we want that to happen, that financial review piece. But the project is complete, and he's super excited with the way it turned out.
Good.
So that's great. All right, so unless you have any questions on those?
Nope.
Great.
But I'll squirrel a little bit and just say that I was impressed with the people that come out for that retirement.
No.
There was a good crowd of people that say something like,
I went out Tuesday and talked to him, but yeah, it was. We tried to twist some arms, but I don't think he wasn't staying. So, well,
by that video they showed, he's already done quite a bit of fishing and hunting. I don't know about his crowd that he goes with all the time.
all right.
All right, the next is, and Braden's not here, but this is signature on the letter to Kyle and Kim Jesse and the city of Lava Hot Springs.
He just wanted to note that that was a continuation from Tuesday's meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Let me. Should I read that? All right. I read it once, but I didn't know which. Okay, that was good. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the letter as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Are we done?
We're done.